Good morning, class. Today we will learn about transforming quadratic equation from general form to vertex form. Now, let us take a look at what are we talking about. So, we know what the general form is. So, let us say the general form of a quadratic is ax squared plus bx plus c, where a, b, and c can be any real numbers. That's what this symbol means right here using the quantifiers. A, B, C can be any real numbers. And you have seen that. Now, the vertex form is written like this. A times the expression x minus h, quantity squared, plus k. When we have something like this, we know the vertex right off the bat. The vertex of this is h, comma k. Okay? The h in comma k, whatever the opposite number with the x is, and the k as it is outside the parentheses. Let us look at what we have here. Now, we're going to take a general form function and we're going to write it in vertex form. The steps to do this are a bit simple, but let us look at it. Step 1, we want to make sure the leading coefficient of 2x squared plus 8x plus 7, we want the leading coefficient to be 1. So what I'm going to do, since the 7 is a constant, I leave the 7 out. So I'm going to group the 2x squared plus 8x together. The 2x squared plus 8x together. So I group these two. Once I group them, I will make sure I take out the 2 so that the leading coefficient can be just 1. Pay attention closely. So in this case, I factor out the 2. Okay? I'm going to factor out the 2 because the 2x squared and 8x, they have 2 in common. Do they have the x also in common? I'm not taking the GCF out. I just want to make sure the leading coefficient is 1. So what I'm talking about here is this. All right? Now notice inside the parentheses you have x squared plus 4x. Now you have to look at x squared plus 4x as the a being 1 inside the parentheses only. We're focusing inside the parentheses. The a is being 1, the b is 4. So once we do that, we're going to take the b and divide it by 2. So whatever the b is, you always divide it by 2. So I have 4 over 2, that gives me 2. Once you get that number, you square it. Always square it. Okay? So now here's what happened. It is squared, I get 4. So I add an extra 4 inside the parentheses. The extra 4, I put it there. Remember, if I put something that wasn't there, I also have to take it out. But keep in mind here, there's a 2 outside the parentheses. That means that's 2. That 2 right there is going to multiply the 4. And that will make it 8, which means I just added 8 to this function that was given to me. So to keep the function the same, if I add 8, I also have to take out 8. So let's continue writing it. So we have plus the 7 as it was, and minus the 8, the extra 8 I added, I take it out. So that basically I add 0. Okay, remember, if you have $5 and I give you $2, then I take away $2, you still end up with $5. This is exactly what I did here. I added 8 and also take away 8. Now, at this point, look at inside the parentheses. Inside the parentheses, you can factor this. If you factor this, you get x plus 2 and x plus 2. It becomes a perfect squared. So since it becomes a perfect squared, I rewrite this like this. I have the 2 in front, so it becomes x plus 2 quantity squared. Then we have the plus 7 minus 8. That becomes negative 1. So the final answer of this, to change this from general form to vertex form, is 2 times the expression x plus 2 quantity squared minus 1. Ladies and gentlemen, once you have this, let's say if you have this right here, they ask you what is the vertex. The vertex is -2, -1. See, the vertex is, some people like to say, the opposite of h. That would be -2 in this case, and k as it is, that is -1. All right, so let us look at another example. Okay, we have the negative x squared plus 6x minus 8. I leave the f of x out so you can see the steps, so you do not think it is too lengthy. There it is. So step 1, we're going to group the terms with the variable. The terms with the variable, we'll group them together, such as this. Now, in front of the x squared right here, there's a -1, but I always want the number in front of x squared to be just 1 instead of -1. I always want it to be 1 in order to perform this complete the square. That's the protocol. So what I do there, so it becomes, I take out the negative, so it becomes x squared minus 6x because I took the negative out, and keep the -8 because it's outside the parentheses. So, and I look at the b. The b is -6. I divide it by 2. I will get -3 rather. And when I have -3, I squared -3. Okay? Squared -3 will get 9. So which means inside the parentheses, I'm going to put a plus 9. Pay attention carefully. A plus 9 inside the parentheses. Now, here's the thing. Outside, there is a -1. So this extra 9 I just put inside the parentheses become a -9. So I take away 9 by adding this 9 inside the parentheses, because the -1 outside multiplies the 9 inside. Since I add an extra -9, I have to add a +9, so that makes it 0. In that way, it keeps the expression the same. As a result, now make sure you understand, I can actually factor what's inside the parentheses. And again, I will get a perfect squared. What's inside the parentheses becomes x minus 3 quantity squared. Okay? And the outside, combine them, because they both are constant, becomes +1. And that is your vertex form right here. This is your vertex form right here. If they ask you for the vertex in this case, because it's always the opposite of h, so it will be 3, 1. That is going to be the vertex. All right? Now, let's look at another one. Again, I group the x's together. And I take the b over 2. Then, in this case, it is 4 over 2. That becomes 2. When I have the 2, I square it. That becomes 4. Now, inside the parentheses, I'm going to add a 4. That's what I get. Inside the parentheses, I'm going to add the 4. Because I will add an extra 4, that means I have to take away 4 also. What happens? I have this and minus 4 on the outside. Now the expression inside the parentheses, I can factor it where it becomes a perfect square. And outside becomes -3. And that's what I'm looking for, ladies and gentlemen. Now, what I would like you to do is to go ahead and actually try a couple yourself. I would like you to try to do these things, and we can work on them together in class, do the practice, and the iExcel or Khan Academy that is assigned on this. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time. Ciao.